Aid for Haiti is pouring in from around the world. You can text message your donations from the couch in your living room. But should you feel guilty if you're not giving? In the midst of the pouring rain, hundreds came out to support Conan O'Brien. But the way NBC's going, they probably won't be cheering much longer.
Tomorrow it will rain, and you won't believe your eyes.
Unfortunately, the wet weather will continue with no end in sight. Our filter choir will bring you the forecast. Hello again on the Filter Forefront, our top 4 of the day, including, can you bring a gun to school but leave it across the street? But we'll begin with this. As Americans, we are caring, we are generous, we feel it is our responsibility to help others. Thousands more U.S. Marines and United Nations troops have moved into Haiti to help the rescue efforts and keep peace in the earthquake-ravaged nation. Emergency supplies are being airlifted. George Clooney is putting together a telethon to raise money. TV stations like this one and radio stations in this city are asking for donations to help. As Americans, we are caring and we are generous. But the American economy is bad. Unemployment in California is high. People are struggling to make ends meet. What if you simply can't help? Should you feel guilty? Should you be guilted into helping? Our contributors tonight, actress and social activist Debra Skelton and Ron Kaye from RonKayLA.com. Ron, I'm going to start with you. Should people feel guilty if they don't help?
I'm not a big believer in guilt, certainly not as a motivation. It's hard to think of anybody whose heart isn't touched. But if you don't have the money, if you don't have the will, if you don't believe in that kind of charity, you can be sure that a lot of your money is going to go there. We need to rebuild this terrible tragedy. These people have suffered from day one. In the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, the poverty, the problems are enormous. And certainly America has to lead the way in building homes for 1 million people, of bringing some kind of decency to Haiti. We've all stood back for too long as a nation, as a world, while these kinds of poverty and suffering goes on. And we at least have to do what we can, if you can individually. Certainly if your heart is touched, and it's hard to think anybody's isn't, it's time to reach into your pocket at least a little bit.
Debra, do you think people are being guilted into helping, or are they doing it out of generosity?
Absolutely not. People are actually doing it because they are generous, because they see this. You know what? It would almost be ridiculous to think that you could be guilted, and after seeing the news, after watching it day after day, the suffering, the sorrow, the sadness, the frustration in what Ron calls, and it's true, one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. Not only that, but if you take a look at this philosophically, when people watch YouTube, you can tell how many people are watching. People watch Susan Boyle, who was one of Britain's Got Talent people, and right. She had millions of hits. Now, if one person donated $1, imagine all those millions of hits would have turned into $1 million or more. So even if you can give $1, donate. If not, you can pray. If you don't want to pray, you can give blood. There are always ways to donate that is feasible for you. That's why we are living in one of the greatest countries on earth. When money is not there, there are other resources, and we make it accessible through the internet. We make it accessible through the Red Cross. Donate money, donate time, donate blood. But definitely, there's no reason for you to feel guilty.
Well put on both parts. Let's move on. Growing up in Los Angeles, you know how dangerous gangs are. If you're a parent, you certainly don't want your kids driving or walking around in areas with gangs. That being said, do you think it's a good idea to take a tour through gang areas? Now, we've talked about this before. It officially started over the weekend, and 50 people paid $65 and signed a waiver acknowledging they could become a crime victim for the right to take a 2-hour tour through LA's most dangerous streets. Included the birthplace of the Crips and the current home to Florencia 13. Skid Row is one of the other highlights. City Councilman Dennis Zine thinks this is a horrible idea. Debra, what do you think?
I think it's a horrible idea as well. I have to admit, I don't see the purpose or the point, unless it's just about generating income. And where is that income going to go? Is it going to go back into the community? Is it going to go into services and programs? Or is it a matter of doing something that is exploitative? Quite frankly, right now, in the infant stages of what it is, I think it's exploitative. I think if you really want to learn about the history of the United States, the history of California, the gang history, there are plenty of shows you can go to. That you can go to the internet. You can go to sociology classes at colleges. But right now, I'm still missing the point of this, although I'm willing to see how far it goes and where it goes.
Ron, what do you think?
I think it's an obscenity. It's sort of like the San Diego Zoo where you ride and see the animals running around. I mean, you couldn't be more demeaning to humanity, gangsters or not. I mean, it's just a terrible, terrible idea. This is a problem that we've allowed fester for 50 years, is out of control. We've cut a Baghdad kind of deal with the gangsters to let them deal drugs as long as they don't go around killing everybody, just to reduce our crime and get statistics to prop up the police department. I mean, the idea, the audacity of these people to, and who would go on it? What kind of people?
That's my question.
What kind of people would go there and ride and look through their window to see poor people and colored people, and there's a gangster, look at the tattoo. I mean, let them walk down there on Saturday night about 11:30 if they want to see what it's really like and feel what it's really like. I mean, this is just... It's not just in poor taste. It demeans us all.
I'll tell you, anytime you have to sign a waiver acknowledging you could become part of a crime scene when you take a tour is not a tour I think I want to take.